What is up? I'm Jared Welch, Aaron Halterman. This is the Blinkers Off. What's up, man?
What's up? Yeah, good to be here, man. We're having a lot of fun at Del Mar right now with another on-top winner to make up for Saratoga being lousy. My goodness, this was a shit show at Saratoga today. Crazy prices everywhere. Del Mar, a little more formful. You don't hear that very often, but that's definitely the way it is right now.
Yeah, Saratoga was one of those days. They have them every year where it's just like, holy shit. Like, I mean, the pick five, the early and late pick fives were just astronomical. It's just like, how you – it's one of those you can't get mad about it. You just got to move on because, today was impossible.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. And it was just like a pick five. The pick six is going to carry over. And like I said, both pick fives monsters. And just – It's one thing when long shots come in, but it's just illogical 38-1. No way I could ever get to type long shots today. So that's what happened, but that's all right. I mean, like I said, Saratoga always has it. Usually it's about a 2 or 3 day window, and really Wednesday wasn't much better, where that's just really tough there. But don't panic. Don't think you're doing something wrong. That's just what Saratoga brings every now and then.
Yeah, don't go back to the drawing board and change up all your handicapping strategies and whatnot, because the next day everything will hit that you would have hit. So that's just Saratoga in a nutshell. Speaking of Saratoga, we just got back from Saratoga, so that was quite the Whitney we saw. And of course, we'll talk a little bit about Nick's Go here for a second. Nick's Go romps in the Whitney, gate to wire, moved. I mean, he did exactly kind of what we thought he would do. It was an unbelievable run, earned a 111 buyer for the victory, just went to the lead, got challenged early from Swiss Skydiver. He said, no thanks, put her away. Then the rest was history. This horse, I mean, he's in the Breeders' Cup Classic. He earned a berth to the Breeders' Cup Classic with that win. So kind of, I've been saying it all along, like they need to point to the Classic with this guy. I think that's the plan now.
No doubt. I mean, he's going there for free, so that's always a good plan to start with that. Listen, Brad Cox kind of said, "Hey, I just think he loves running around turns, and if you want to go look at the definition of a horse that likes to run around the turn, look at the first turn at Saratoga in the Whitney. He's neck and neck with Swiss Skydiver going into that first turn, and by the time they come out of it, he's 7 ahead." And watching it live, I thought, well, what the hell did Irad do there? Why did he pull that horse up? He didn't. Nick's Go just took off, and he took off from all of them and ran him into the ground at that point. Impressive performance. Pace pressure in the Breeders' Cup Classic. That's going to be the key. If there's not any, I don't think they're going to beat him.
Yeah, I don't. We talked about it. I'm sorry, I'm watching preseason, which, by the way, is the best thing I saw today. The preseason's back. Flacco just threw a bomb to somebody. Yeah, that's right. Flacco's in now because Hurts is out. That's amazing. Oh, that Watkins dude that I think he was a rookie maybe last year for Philly. But, yeah, Flacco, he won't go away. Listen, he could run 2 miles, I feel like. Like, I don't think it's a distance problem or issue with Nick's Go. It's just a matter of, can he get an easy lead? If he does, I was standing next to, or we were right there on the rail, right there kind of going into the first turn, and we were standing next to, obviously, a bunch of people, and that guy next to me, I was talking to him right before they were kind of getting ready to load in the gate, and we were talking about the race, and he's like, who do you like? It's like, Nick's Go. And I said, well, I pointed over to like kind of across, kind of right outside of the first turn there. I said, we'll know by there if he's going to win or not. And that's about the time when he had separated, basically. And I looked at you, and when the race was going on, I said, it's over. They're not catching him. This is over. Like, this is exactly how you would draw it up. People say pace pressure, and I'm not convinced yet. Like, I don't know who can run with him. Even, that's the thing. Like, if you're going to pressure him, I get it, but who can pressure him? Who can pressure him and still have a chance to win the race? Hot Rod Charlie's the only horse that, you kind of comes to mind as far as a horse that goes quick early, that you think that might be able to do it. But shit, I mean, that kind of cancels out the whole point, right? Because he's probably going to, falter. Both horses would falter. So it's one of those things that if you you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you go after him, you're probably killing your chances to win the race. If you don't, you're running for second.
Yeah, so the Whitney, there was just nobody that could pressure him. There are a few horses out there that probably could like you said, you're gonna take the race out of your hands, though. If you try to go out there with him early, it's not going to go well for you. Listen, if I'm somebody, and by the way, I think his biggest challenger is essential quality. So Cox isn't going to enter a rapid. But if I've got a horse that comes from off the pace, I seriously have to think about entering a rabbit into the race and knowing, hey, you're going to go out in front and you're probably going to finish last in this race, but you might set it up for my other horse. I mean, I just think that's the only way you're going to be able to beat him. And I'm with you. It's not their distance is not the problem with this horse. It's just, does he get eyeballed early? Is somebody running with him early? And it's not so much like how fast they go. It's just that pressure that's going to need to be put on him. And you're right. He is naturally very, very fast. So it's going to take a very talented horse to actually put any pressure on him. We talked about this on the Rocket Hour Tuesday when we were recapping Saratoga. He presents a problem no matter from what angle when he enters a race. Like if you're a handicapper, you got to figure, hey, if he gets out loose, it's over, he wins. If he gets pressured, he's last. So that's kind of a problem, right? For trainers, owners, jockeys, he's a huge problem because he is the biggest factor in the race one way or the other. So he just presents a problem every time. And he presents that problem because he has elite talent. He just has an elite ability that not many horses right now have.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's right now. He's it's pretty unbelievable what this horse is doing. We laugh about this horse a lot because it's like whenever he was kind of a joke in all intents and purposes, and we joked a lot about Nick's Go. If I don't think you would have bought him. For $10,000, he would have been a pain in the ass. I mean, and to think that this horse is now a Pegasus winner, is now a Whitney winner, and very easily could be a Classic winner at the end of this year. And it's just kind of unbelievable. Very easily, to the exact definition, it's unbelievable that this is happening.
The Saudi race, somebody said, Dan Mason said, wasn't the Saudi a mile and a quarter? He got beat badly at that distance. That had nothing to do with the distance. It was one turn. It was a one-turn mile and a quarter, believe it or not. That's hard to believe, but it was. And he had the presence of Charlatan in the race. So it was double trouble. He only got to run around one turn, and he had what we talked about, the pace pressure. That's what he's going to fold. Trust me, if the Whitney was a mile and a quarter, if the Whitney was a mile and a half, if Whitney was 2.5 miles, they never were going to pass him. He was out by himself on high cruising speed. They're never going to get to him. It's definitely not the distance. It's definitely the pressure. And does he get the 2 turns, which obviously in this country he will.
And Brad had actually mentioned even after the fact, or easy after the fact, he's like, yeah, we probably took him too quick back from Pegasus to Saudi. But he's like, what is it? 16, 20 million. We had 20 million reasons why we did it, And so it's kind of like, you kind of forced your hand. You had to, but I think if the normal race that he wouldn't have been entered there. So I don't necessarily think, and to your point, you got, now here's a horse. Yeah, thank you. Michael said it. Life is good. Maybe Todd Pletcher might have something to say about this at the end of the day. Maybe, if nothing else, if he makes it to the Classic and he shows speed, what if he is the kind of the dooms the chances of Nick's Go? Because he obviously is a very fast horse. So we'll see how he comes back, though, of course.
He's definitely a possibility for sure. That's why I said there at the top. There's a few. He's one. Hot Rod Charlie's the obvious one. Paul and I were talking, what about not Life is Good? What about Rock Your World? The horse is pointing for the Pacific Classic. Let's just say he runs better. I don't think he's going to. Let's say he does. They'll probably try him in the Classic. He at least does have that speed. Life is Good and Hot Rod Charlie better candidates, I think, for it. But Rock Your World does have early speed. Maybe he could get there and mess with him too.
Do you think if you're Brad, you just say, I don't care how fast you have to go. If it's a mile and a quarter race, you got to go 21. Go 21. Like, go as fast as you need to go to get this horse on its own. Because if that's the case, like I think you kind of know if he gets eyeballed, it's not going to go well. But just press him and just go.
The problem is when they hit that turn, there's nobody that's going to run with him. I mean, I don't care what it is. They're not going to be able to get to him. So it's just going to be that idea of, okay, now he's separated, and now who's going to come up and get him again, and who's in range to get him again. But yeah, for sure. I mean, if you train this horse, the strategy is going to be pretty easy. He has to be in front, and he will be. There's no doubt, unless he just doesn't break very well.
Breeders' Cup is at Del Mar, which obviously is not going to hurt his chances any with a very fast speed favoring track. So we'll see how that goes in the Classic. Sounds like maybe, and you called this beforehand, the Lucas Classic even as a final prep heading into the Breeders' Cup Classic. So we will see. All right, more to talk about, obviously. Best thing you saw today before we get to it.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to David Kirk, a friend of the Racing Dudes. We email back and forth all the time. His horse, Let Me Know, wins a race today at Saratoga. He won an allowance race. I believe that was race number 8, maybe. Yeah, it was number 8, race 8. Let Me Know wins an allowance. We talked earlier last week, and he was so excited. Hey, we might win a race at Saratoga. And he was up there. And guess what? Guess who they interviewed after the race? David Kirk. He was one of them. There was 2 owners there. So that was really kind of a thrill to see him live on television. So congratulations out to all the connections of Let Me Know. Big time win.
Did he shout out Racing Dudes at all?
No, he did not. He did not. He was so thrilled. You could tell he was just thrilled to be there and winning that race. I mean, we talked about it last week. He's like, that is a dream come true if that can happen, and it does. Now, unfortunately, Let Me Know gets claimed out of the race. So that's it for Let Me Know as far as that ownership group goes.
Yeah, but you have any horse. I don't care if it's 10,000 claiming or whatever, up to obviously stakes. You win a race at Saratoga. That's something you put on your wall. That's something that you never forget, especially being there, of course. And that's awesome that David was there to kind of witness that. So that's amazing. So congrats, David, on the win today at the Spa. All right, best thing I saw, I kind of mentioned earlier. It's preseason, man. We're back. We obviously had a little bit of action last week at the Hall of Fame game, but that shit doesn't count. The preseason week 1 begins tonight. Both games I've got going right here on my other computer. And it's just great to have football back, man. We set up the fantasy draft a couple weeks ago. Everything's kind of getting closer. Obviously, college football is getting really close to starting. It just kind of feels, and I know COVID is still looming, but it kind of feels nice to be somewhat back to sports for the time being.
And if you want to read all about football, we have a brand new website, racingdudes.com/sports. We've got tons of college football previews, and we have a show, Dudes Who Bet. The sports podcast is new. It launched yesterday. So that definitely ties into what all been going on with the website. And yeah, we're super pumped for the games to start. 2 weeks from Saturday, college football starts. So there is a ton to look forward to on that front as far as the Racing Dudes go. We've got a ton of new content, brand new sports site. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we have a lot of people that be like, yeah, I bet Saratoga, take a break. I play football or NFL or whatever, and then I'll be back for the Breeders' Cup. Well, hey, guess what? You get to be with us all year long now. You like football? Guess what? The Dudes have your back. We will have coverage all year long, whether you like horse racing, whether you like NFL, whether you like college basketball, NHL, whatever. We have it. Racing Dudes. We're gonna call it. It's called RD Sports. We're working on a logo right now, but Racing Dudes Sports. Just on the homepage there, you can see it on the sports. And again, if you're a writer, you like to write, you like sports, hit us up. I mean, listen, guys like Samich and Magic and Ricky. I mean, these are all guys that came to us saying, "Hey, I love horse racing. Let me get in it. Hey, give them a shot." And look what happened to them. So. Slim, another one. I mean, these guys, so it's like if you like sports, you want to write, let us know. Hit us up at contact@racingdudes.com. And we I don't think we've ever said no to somebody to write for us. It may last one time. We always like, hey, Magic, just review this. You know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, maybe not. But somehow Ricky made it through the cracks there. I don't know how that worked out, but Ricky survived. But anyways, sports on the site, and obviously can't wait. We're big sports guys, obviously, so we kind of get the best of both worlds. I am seeing a little too much on OU on the homepage there. I think that's a little bit of a problem. But
the Big 12 comes out tomorrow as well, so you'll see a few more. So.
Great. Yeah, but no, make sure you guys check it out. And side note, I'll put up a screenshot of that here in a little bit because spoiler alert, it's going to be rapid fire. They paid to sponsor rapid fire. So all right, let's get to it. Today's show, we're going to preview the 600K. That's right, Mr. D Stakes, formerly the Arlington Million. I hate it too. Don't worry. At Arlington, and the 500K Fourstardave Handicap at Saratoga. It's a Breeders' Cup win and you're in event for the FanDuel Mile. Then we're going to get rapid fire selections for some of the other remaining stakes action at Arlington and Saratoga. Let's go.
I was gonna. Vicky, he said it was his first race at Saratoga too. Talking about David Kirk winning that race, so that's really cool, really cool.
Yeah, Steve, if you ever ask to ride, I'm gonna know you're too intoxicated, so the no will be coming. Don't worry, man. Steve going to Arlington Millions Day, so that's awesome.
I love it.
Let us. I mean, it's unfortunately it's a monumental year because it's the last year.
Yep. Sucks. Nope. There you go, Michael. Steve is.
Sorry.
No, you're right.
Yeah. Yep. Steve's going. So if anybody else is going, I bet the crowd will be awesome because everyone's going to want to go. So
I would think so. Yeah.
And I mean, shit, you got up until last week, the best horse in the world, I think, or best horse in the country, anyways, running in the Mr. Such a stupid name, the Mr. D. I hate it. But there you go. So yeah, it's a huge weekend.
It is. They have some these races are super good. I mean, we're going to get into them, but they're really good.
The only letdown I thought was the Bruce D. That race was shit. But other than that, I really thought this card was both at Saratoga, obviously, and Arlington, really good.
Yep.
All right. Three, two, one. All right, let's head to Arlington on Saturday, race 9, formerly the Arlington Million, the Mr. D Stakes. It's a grade 1 with 600K for 3-year-olds and up, going 1.25 miles on the turf. You got a field of 10 lined up for this one, but look no further than the 3-horse Domestic Spinning, making his return to the track at 6-5. Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt on the mount there. I mean, really, it starts and ends with him. If you're going to try to beat him, Aiden O'Brien brings in a new shooter, so to speak, number 9 Armory. That seems like maybe the most logical horse to upset the horse. And hey, there's Zulu Alpha for Mike Maker, 8-1 morning line. Louis Sai is on board. So those are your big 3 of the race. What'd you think?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a 2-horse race. I did not go against Domestic Spending, but I did pause for a minute because this number 9 horse Armory is pretty interesting, making the United States debut. 2 races back, this horse finishes 3rd at Royal Ascot, beaten by Love and Adaria, 2 really nice horses. Now, Love and Adaria did not come back to run very well, and that's kind of the cause for concern a little bit. They did not come back to run well in their next races. Maybe we kind of overrated the Prince of Wales Stakes this year at Ascot, but Armory, was 2-1 in that spot. So certainly a horse that should be respected here. I think he gives Domestic Spending a legitimate challenge. I'm not going to go against Domestic Spending, though. I still think he's the best horse in this race.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's like I immediately like Domestic's not losing, but then you really look at Armory, and you go further back to last year where the horse gets 3rd to only beating 2 lengths to Magical. I mean, Magical's a very nice horse as well. This horse is this is the kind of horse that runs in great Group 1s, Group 2s. Wins Group 2s, Group 1s, runs really well against good horses, seemingly good horses, and runs 2nd, 3rd, 4th, somewhere in there. I mean, it's not completely out of the realm that this, I think this is probably, at least this year for sure, that the biggest challenge Domestic Spending is going to have in terms of, off of a slight layoff, so to speak. We hadn't seen this horse since early June. Obviously, this horse is unbelievable, but it does seem like if there is going to be a horse to upset, it is that horse. What about Zulu Alpha? This is a horse, obviously, at one point, was a very good horse, and obviously won the Pegasus World Cup turf back last year in 2020. Rattled off another win at Gulfstream Park, and then won the Elkhorn at Keeneland, and then really since then has struggled. Struggled both being on the track and struggled on the track. So, what do you think? Zulu Alpha, do you see any shot here at 8-1?
No, not really. I don't like him in this spot. The Kentucky Downs race, that's Kentucky Downs, mile and a half. You just never know. It got third, and I didn't really hold that against him too bad. But then the long layoff, and then comes back in the local prep for this race, the Arlington Stakes, and was just nowhere to be found. Hard for me to play that horse here against two really nice horses like Domestic Spending and Armory. I thought Busy Channel, the horse that won the Arlington Stakes, that might be one to maybe take a look at as a long shot. But in the end, I still think it's a two-horse battle here. It feels an awful lot to me, and I think, Michael, we may have talked about this over Twitter. I can't really remember, or email Juan, but it almost feels like Aidan O'Brien is bringing over Armory as kind of the measuring stick and kind of being, okay, let's test out just how good Domestic Spending is. Can we run with Domestic Spending against Armory here? Is it close? Is he competitive? And then we can kind of gauge on what do we need to send over here to try to beat him. Or if Domestic Spending just blows the doors off of it, maybe you think, yeah, we're going to skip that race with our runners this year. It feels like a measuring stick. I think Domestic Spending is good enough to beat the European measuring stick, so to speak. But it still does add intrigue. As far as the rest of them, I just have no interest. If any of the other, 8 win, it's a huge surprise to me.
Huge surprise, and frankly, just a huge upset that, you can't, for like Domestic Spending would have that means he ran awful. That means he ran just completely backed up. You look, what's amazing about Domestic Spending, not that we need any kind of, reason to talk about him because we know he's amazing, but you look at this horse and he's one, like, if you guys look at the past performances a lot, you see horses in italics. That means they came back to win. And he's a horse that, like, everyone he faces comes back to run well. Trebuven, Gouffo last time, Smooth Like Straight last 2 back, Smooth Like Straight 3 back, Gouffo 4 back. They constantly come back to win races. You even go all the way back to his maiden. Second place winner came back. Second place winner the next race came back to win. He's lost 1 race in 7 starts. He's 6 or 7. That one was the 3rd place in the Hall of Fame last year. I mean, it's like not like he's running good races. These horses are coming back to win, and he's dominating those races. I think he's going to be loaded again. He just does what he needs to do to win.
Yeah, I think that Manhattan was just such a strong race. I think it's much stronger than this one from top to bottom. And like I said, Trebuvan came back and dominated at Monmouth, and he wasn't even close to Domestic Spending. Gouffo came back and looked really good in the stakes. He wasn't even close to Domestic Spending. Even if you want to go back to the 5th place finisher, Rock Emperor, and this will give you a good laugh, he won out of that race. He won his next start out of that race, and then he got second in the grade 2, the other day, the Bowling Green. He still counts as a horse that have come out of that race and has been very, very good. So it almost, I'll go ahead and say it. I think it's really depressing if Domestic Spending doesn't win, because if he doesn't win here, it really shows we're not going to win any turf races at Breeders' Cup Friday or Saturday. I know he needs to win this race for our American turf horses.
Yeah, and frankly, Chad Brown. He dominates the race, right? He brings horses in, they win. Bricks and mortar, he wins. Who was the one? It was a couple of years back. What was that? Robert Bruce. Bruce won this race. I mean, it seems like he's won this race. Here, look, we can list pulled up here. But yeah, I mean, this guy, Chad Brown, and to the same, Aidan O'Brien does not win this race. So yeah, Chad Brown's won it 3 years in a row. Bricks and mortar, Robert Bruce, Beach Patrol. Real Solution, he won it a few years. Aidan O'Brien, dating back to 2011, did win this race. He did in 2005, but he hasn't won it lately. The Pizza Man, never forget the Pizza Man. Yep. But yeah, Chad Brown's won it 3 years in a row. I think he's going to make it 4. How do you play this race? Do you just depending, I mean, we're going to talk about the sequence a little bit underneath leading up to this. Do you, because I think there's some prices to be had, possible prices in a couple of those legs. Is he a single? Are you going to play the two? How are you going to play it?
I would play both of them in the multis for sure. And then I'll put up this comment here. Put Busy Channel in third, play a straight try, domestic over Armory over Busy Channel. Whatever you do, play it straight. Whether if you're going to play a try, play it straight. If you're going to play exacta, play it straight. So I agree with that. So, multi-race, I'm going to play them both. And then if you're looking race by race type wagers, I'd play a big exacta, domestic over Armory, or like even Michael said, big try, and put those three just in that order. I kind of agree with that logic.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of just like pounding an exacta with those two or something,
Yep.
Because I just feel like those two are standouts here. And if you want to get creative and play a try, like Michael said, do that. But I think you have to pound it, like you said, because when you're going to get, if you get at home, domestic, Armory, and whoever, I mean, it's still you're going to have a pretty high base. 50 cent isn't going to cut it. So no. Domestic spending, he is our shot to win a Breeders' Cup turf, but he's got to do it again here in the formerly Arlington Million, the Mr. D Stakes. We're both on number 3, domestic spending to win. All right. I'm a little afraid of this race. I'm afraid you're going to just laugh me off the show. So,
what's that? The Fourstardave?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to, I can't laugh at anybody you pick. I mean, it's wide open.
It's a tough, I mean, I just can't get a good feel for anybody in here.
No, this Fourstardave is, I mean, first of all, 3 fillies in the Fourstardave. That's pretty amazing.
I know, right?
So, I mean, it's cool.
And I might just pick one. All right.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're going with. Now you said that. Okay.
Get up there. All right. 3, 2, 1. Let's stay Saturday, but let's go to the spa. Let's go to Saratoga, race 10 at Saratoga. The Fourstardave Handicap. It's worth $500K. It's handicap for 3-year-olds and up, going 1 mile on the turf, and it is a Breeders' Cup winning your event for the FanDuel Mile at Del Mar at Del Mar for the Breeders' Cup. And of course, this is, like we talked about, domestic spending. Can we get a win on the turf? Can we get any of these horses to win on the turf? And we're going to try at least with what, kicking it off here. It's just we were talking a little bit before we hopped on air. It's like this race, I can't get a good feel for it. It's field of 8, 9-5 on Raging Bull for Chad Brown, but I know how you feel about that horse, and I feel the same. 5-2 on Set Piece for Brad Cox, 4-1 on Casa Creed, who scratched last weekend for this. Blowouts at 6-1. Field passes at 8-1. God Stormy is sitting in here at 10-1. What did you think of this field, and did you have have a hard time like I did with it?
Yeah, definitely. This is just a wide open, scrambled group, however you want to really phrase it. I'm telling you. So I wrote a preview for this on the website, and I was kind of hitting refresh, waiting for this to come out, and I had to do like triple take. I was like, there's 8 horses in it, which is kind of what I expected. 3 of them are females. That's crazy. I think it's cool. Of course, Got Stormy is one of them, and she is a past winner, but we haven't seen her at her best lately. I went around and around and around. I watched replays on all these horses over and over, probably more than I should have. In the end, I kind of think the hot horse is Set Piece. And so I went with Set Piece on top. This horse has won 3 in a row. Last time out, I really think she showed a lot to run down a loose on the lead. Some like it Hot Brown, who I think is a very high quality horse. Set Piece was able to run him down. I don't know. I just think Brad Cox horses are running very, very well here at Saratoga. He's won the feature the last 2 weekends in a row. Of course, the Jim Dandy and the Whitney. I'm going to go Set Piece. I don't love 5-2. I wish we could get a little bit more. Maybe we will. I doubt it, though, with the way this horse has been running. But, yeah, I went around and around here. I think there's a lot of different cases to be made.
Listen, I honestly, I think you got to go as deep as you possibly can. We just talked about how Saratoga's been so tough today, and honestly, it's going to be frustrating because it's one of those that you go deep, and then Robert Bruce wins. You're like, well, there you go, because that's the thing. That's why it's such a frustrating race because Raging Bull. Did I say Robert Bruce?
Yeah.
Oh man, no, I don't think Robert Bruce is winning. He could though, maybe. That with Raging Bull, because it's like he is capable of running huge races. He's a grade 1 winner. He's also capable of hanging for second or hanging for third and getting in trouble and doing something stupid. And it's just like you can't trust him like you can a lot of times. Like I definitely can't trust him like you can domestic spending in the other race. So I took a shot against. You obviously are playing Raging Bull here. Listen, I think you make a case for a bunch in here, like you said, and Casa Creed, I really wanted to pull the trigger with Casa Creed because, like, well, if Bill Mott's scratching, like, in scratching for this race, horse ought to be good, right? Got to be ready to roll. I mean, he's obviously to point for here and going to be a tougher spot. I told you you're probably going to kill me, and I haven't picked this horse in a long time, but I went with, I needed a price, and I went with the price at 10-1, and number 6 Got Stormy. I just kind of feel like it might be her chance to win, get back in the winner's circle, back to this distance. She's in 19 starts at a mile. She's won 9 times, 5 seconds. She likes Saratoga, 3 starts at Saratoga, 2 wins and a second. And Cassidy finally gets her back to the track at Saratoga, going a mile. She ran huge. You look back to last year when she came into this race, and she kind of had struggled a little bit coming into it, and then ran huge. Now, she did get second in the Fourstardave last year to Halliday, but she had ran really kind of shitty going in the Bugay and the Poker. And then, boom, she ran a really nice race. And just kind of feels like he's not going to run her here if, she's been working great. Obviously, it seems like everything I've read, everything I've heard, that she's doing really, really well. So to me, the risk of her shitting the bed is outweighed by the fact that she's 10-1. And she does have a lot of success at this track and at this distance. And I really just don't have a really good feel for this race.
It's interesting. She was 10-1 that day. Like I said, in the Fourstardave. It's going to probably be 10-1 here. It was a real shock. Like you said, she was running horribly. Here's what's weird about this horse. And I don't get it. They shortened her up to sprinting after that second in the Fourstardave, and she was great. She won at 6.5. She won at 5.5. She finished 5th, only beaten 2 legs in the Breeders' Cup turf sprint. That was against males, but it's like, okay, that's pretty good. I think she's a sprinter now. This year, a mile.
She wins at a mile.
It was a mile, but it wasn't a great race. As far as the class level was low at Gulfstream. A mile again, and Blowout, who's in this race, by the way, that's who I thought you were picking, beats her by 4 lengths. Boys again going 6 furlong, gets beat 3.5, finished 5th in the Jaipur. That's a really good race, though. I don't know. Like, I just don't know what they really want to get out of this horse or what they're doing with her. I'm not hating the pick because the price is going to be there, and she runs well over here, but she confuses me, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
No, I agree. She confuses me. I mean, it's like, what the hell? You wonder what they're doing. Like, what? Like you're saying, like going a mile, then they run her at 6 furlongs, and then you think she's staying sprinting. Now she's back. She's back to the mile, and it is. I mean, but you look at the numbers. She's very good at a mile. The mile has always been kind of her game, right? I think she's going to run a good race. I really do. I'd be shocked if she doesn't run well. I just don't. Maybe she's not good enough to win. We'll find out. I do think. I do. Yeah. See, there you go. Mindy's intrigued as well. I think that's probably the best way to say it. I'm intrigued with her because it just feels like she could win. It also feels like she could struggle. I mean, because you don't know, but she's going to try because she's a classy horse. I think it was Michael maybe on here. Another filly, Daddy's a Legend at 20-1, I think is interesting because look how well she ran last time out in that grade 1 and lost to Althika and Summer Romance. I mean, come on. That was a very nice race. And this is a horse that is, has won at Saratoga. is capable. But bottom line with her, she's won one time in 10 starts to the distance. She seems like an underneath horse, if at best for me. It's like I say, I basically, when I get to a race like this, and I'm like, I can't decide. It's like Casa Creed, yeah, Raging Bull, yeah. You look at a lot of the field pass is interesting. Blowout obviously is interesting. A lot of speed. I just you look at a horse like Got Stormy, who is classy, likes the track, should have a nice little pace, off the pace a little bit. And if she's got anything left, I think she'll have something to say. I don't know that we're going to find out a lot about her. She, gets a little bit of weight allowance here as well. So I'm going to take a shot at 10-1. I hope we get it.
What do you think if Flavien Prat was on blowout? Flavien Prat's been on blowout the last 2 races, including the win last time out. Would you give that horse more consideration, or was just like, no, I can't play blowout here?
Well, yes and no. I mean, obviously Pratt is not even at Saratoga on Saturday. So, I mean, that kind of goes. I think if Pratt would have been, if he would have been here and then, so I didn't I guess my point is I didn't put a lot of weight into that because say Pratt was at Saratoga and he was on, Raging Bull or whatever, or whatever it is, I'd be like, okay, well, obviously that's the horse you want from Chad Brown. In this case, you get Rosario. It's not like it's a bad thing. I think the bottom line for me is this is a filly that likes to run on the front end. I think she's a pace factor in the race. She barely, we were there. She barely held on last time out. And it's not like it was a fantastic, race or fantastic field. She feels like a horse that's going to be a much of a factor in this race from a pace standpoint, not necessarily to win.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't put her on top because I just think she's going to get caught. And like I said, she almost got caught against fillies, and she was 8 in front in that race. Had no excuse. It wasn't 8 in front and flying. They 8 in front and they were going slow. So, I couldn't put her on top. She is interesting, though. And my point was with Flavien Prat, he's the best rider in the world, in my opinion, right now. And I just think he would just add that much more intrigue. It's not a hate on Rosario. It's just Flavien Prat won some races kind of on his own last weekend, I should say, at Saratoga. So I thought he would maybe spice it up. Yeah, I can't put her on top though. Got Stormy at 10-1. I get why everybody's kind of intrigued. Not going to talk you off of her.
The problem with Got Stormy is even if she goes out and wins, there's nothing about her where you're like, I feel like you're still going to feel the same about her because it's just like if she goes and wins, she very easily could finish 5th next time. Or hell, she wins and they run her in a 5.5 furlong race the next time. I don't know what she is after this because obviously she wins. She's in the Breeders' Cup. But, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Totally. I've never been able to get a good read on that horse ever. Ever. I've never been able to get a good read on that horse. I don't know. I've counted her out so many times, during her career and thought, well, I think she's just kind of fallen off form. She always finds a way to kind of resurrect, her career. So I'm not going to be shocked if she runs 5th here. I'm not going to be shocked if she wins. I can't get a feel for her.
Well, we'll see. More than anything, I think this is a race. I don't know what is out of this race that I feel really good. I'm biased. I own a share. Otherwise, I wouldn't touch her.
Did Millie buy into this one?
Oh, yeah. Millie. Yeah, Millie's really the one that, I was sitting here trying to decide and who to pick. And she's like, Got Stormy. And I'm like, all right. So, yeah, she's been bragging all about owning, she owns I think she owns 1/100th of the share. So, and then, of course, she still talks about the authentic victory. So, that's one thing, in this house, it's all about my racehorse with her. So right. Yeah, of course she has a piece of Got Stormy. And that's really the ultimate reason why I picked her here. So that's why I'm with me and Millie are on Got Stormy and you're going with Brad Cox. Big shocker there. Number 5 set piece.
Yeah.
And Millie loves her.
This is awesome. Good job, Vicky. Yeah. Our free win picks swept the pick 5 at Del Mar today. So really pumped about that. 6 out of 8 winners on the free win picks today at Del Mar.
Well, shit, you can't go wrong with the free picks. racingdudes.com.
Well, after Saratoga, I was like, gosh, that was brutal. I just had one winner at Saratoga today, and then to come back there, that's great. So congratulations on that. I don't know. Let's see. What did that pay? I paid well. It paid $142.30 for 50 cents. You had it 6 times. That's awesome.
Nice. Congrats, Vicky.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Great job.
All right. Let's do some rapid fire. All right. 3, 2, 1. Time for rapid fire presented by RD Sports. That's right. Racing Dudes is now in the sports scene. And there you go. I'll pull it up on the screen. Thank you for watching. If you are watching live, RD Sports, that's your new go-to place for all of your sports needs. Of course, you just go to racingdudes.com. It's on under other sports. And right now we have college football on there. You can see it on the screen there. We got all the previews of what's coming up and obviously all the conferences, and then NFL will be coming soon. We'll have games. Right now it's all about previews, but throughout the season you're going to have, it's going to actually be picks and games. There's going to be a thing on the side there. It's got all the games, the picks, the odds, the morning line odds, the spreads, morning line, the money line. You got to shift between horse racing and sports. The money line and of course, the spread. We're going to have everything you need for sports betting at Racing Dudes, RD Sports, and even right there, Dudes Who Bet, another podcast coming your way. Dudes Who Bet just launched the brand new podcast. Aaron, your boy Aaron Halterman there, and his dad, that's right, Papa Dude, doing a podcast. And, of course, appearances for myself. There'll be guys, I'm sure Samich and Ricky and Magic, and we'll have random guys on there talking sports throughout the season. But RD Sports, it's for all, this has been, we've been working on this for a while, and it's good to see it.
Yeah, man, my dad and I, we're super stoked to do this first podcast. We've been talking about that since February, and he was like jumping out of his skin ready. He's fired up. He's wrote all these previews that you see, all wrote by my dad. He kind of went through all of it. He breaks down the schedule. He gives you a prediction on what they're going to finish record wise and how they're going to finish within the conferences. We got Big 12 coming out tomorrow, SEC this weekend, Pac-12 on Monday. And then if you're an NFL fan, don't worry. Those are coming next. They start a little bit later. So we said, well, we'll put those out a little bit later and do the college game first. And like I said, once these previews are over, the games actually start, that's going to be your spot for games. It'll be all kinds of games, articles with picks and breakdown and analysis as far as that goes.
Yeah, and I want to be clear. Like, it's not like we're just like, hey, we do horses, let's just get into sports. Like,
no,
sports was what we've always done, and horse racing was like, hey, we should do horse racing. So I mean, this is our bread and butter. We bet sports all the time, so it's just like, hey, we might as well do what we love as well with horse racing. So sports is a natural fit for us. So, well,
the big thing was we needed somebody to be able to feed it information and to write. And my dad retired and he can write and he knows a lot about sports. So it helped because we can't take away from what we do for the racing day for day or day by day because it takes up all the time. So it's nice. We can kind of transition and we can do a couple shows and obviously that's fine. But the heavy lifting will be done by him. As far as the articles and picks go, and that's exactly what we needed. So it worked out perfect. We can't be more excited. We think this site's going to be really cool. You guys are going to really enjoy it.
Yeah, again, it's just going to be just like what we do at racingdudes.com, but it's going to be on sports. So it's going to be the same thing. Really, the only reason I wanted to do it was I needed a write-off for when I go to Chiefs games. So, yeah. That's really the biggest thing. Now I can go to our accountant and be like, hey, I was there researching, like the 5 Miller Lights I had. That was part of the research. I had to see so it's all about tax write-offs for us at the end of the year. So yeah, thank you everybody, and really can't wait to get going on this as the season obviously we wanted to get ready for the NFL and college football, and we did. All right. Let's go. Let's do some rapid fire here. We got 3 stakes races on the undercard at Arlington, or 3 graded stakes races, and of course, a Saratoga special at Saratoga. So let's kick things off with race 6 at Arlington. It's the Puck Rep Stakes grade 3 with 100K for fillies, 3-year-olds going 1.8 miles on the turf. Field of 8 lines up for this one. Your favorite horse in training, number 1, Oyster Box. Are you going with her?
You know it. Oyster Box, baby. That's my horse. That's my girl. I did go Oyster Box on top here to be serious about it for a second. You know what? This horse is pretty good, really. I mean, great name, but I think the horse is pretty solid. Comes out of the regret last time out. Didn't run great, but I think we can get back to it. You look at this race, it's not fantastic, right? There's a lot to be desired. I was between her, Oyster Box, and the 4 Flown, but I kind of like the price, and I like Luis Saez jumping aboard. I think this horse needs a little bit more aggressive of a ride. That's the guy you want to do it. And if you're paying attention to Saratoga, Saez has been fantastic. I love the jockey change. Give me a little bit of Oyster Box.
Of course. Why wouldn't you, right? I'm going with the price here. I kind of assumed you would go with Oyster Box, if nothing else, for the name. I went with the 7-horse Spritz at 10-1, Rudolph Brissett train. Listen, this horse, kind of trying to struggle to find her way. And then the last 2, they've shifted over to turf, including last time out at Arlington Park, and ran a really nice race, ended up finishing 4th. But the fact that you're going longer here, the fact that he's decided to continue to run here. This horse has improved with each start. It ran really well on debut on turf, improved that number pretty much impressively. Went from a 69 to a 76 buyer, which kind of puts the horse right in the ball game. If this horse can make another jump on the turf, you got to think this horse is not. I think this horse is going to continue to get better in a field that's really not impressive. I mean, really, the horse that obviously, the Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt, that's going to take money. Obviously, I don't know about you, but you got to be careful with these kind of horses that maybe necessarily didn't look overly impressive. They ran at Monmouth on debut, didn't even win. Now it's here. It's like, yeah, I got to be careful with that. This horse is going to take a bunch of money that probably doesn't need to. So I'm going to take a shot against. I like the 7 Spritz.
It's funny. I put that horse second and almost picked it to win because I don't see a lot of speed and horse, but I don't trust that the horse will get to the lead. I wish Saez was on this horse.
Yeah, I know, right? I wish that if he would have gotten, no offense to Graham, but if he would have gotten a nice horse on here or a nice jockey on Spritz, it'd have been like. But then you're going to kill the price, So it's got good connections. Obviously, they found a new home on turf. The horse is improving. So it just kind of feels like in a situation that you got to take a shot because I don't like much in that race.
Yeah, I don't either.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Next race 7, the Beverly D Stakes, grade 1 with 400K for fillies and mares. 3-year-olds and up, going 1 3/16 miles on the turf, field of 7. Lined up for this one. Mean Mary at 9-5 for Grand Motion, Luis Saez, you just talked about. But hey, look who's in the race. Aiden O'Brien brings his 3-year-old filly who just came out of the dominant win at Belmont. Santa Barbara, Aiden O'Brien, Ryan Moore, 2-1, the biggest threat to Mean Mary. What do you think of this race, and what do you think of her showing up here?
Love it. Picking her to win. Really excited to watch her win this race. I think she's a beast. I thought that was a horrific trip last time out in the Belmont Oaks, and she still won. And oh, by the way, Cone Lima won the Saratoga Oaks last weekend. I think Santa Barbara is going to romp in this spot, at least as far as turf horses go. I'm super pumped. Please, people, don't bet her because she's 3. Please, I'm begging you. It's such a terrible reason not to bet this horse. By the way, she gets a weight allowance because she is 3 years old, so it's a positive for me. I'm excited. I think Santa Barbara is gonna show us a really nice performance here. I think Mean Mary's the only one that really is scary, but I think she's gonna catch her.
Horrific. You doesn't even begin to describe the trip that she got in the Belmont Oaks, and yet still was a dominant win. I mean, you don't often see a horse in the calls like, if you're looking at the chart, 5th, 7th, 1st. It's like that's insane. That just shows you how much traffic this horse had. mind you, at the end of that day, that she was the one. Now, granted, the Belmont the Belmont Derby? Yeah, did not come back out of that race very well. But I blame myself for picking that horse at Saratoga last week because this was the one. Santa Barbara was the one I left the day thinking, oh my gosh, that horse might be a super freak because the way she won this race after all that trouble, everything stacked against her, still did it. The fact that Aiden O'Brien decides to skip any kind of the 3-year-old turf or anything over here and wants to run her here against Olders and doesn't really care, I think that's a huge sign this horse is going to run well.
Yeah, I love this. I love this horse on this spot. I'm really excited to see. Yeah, and I was cussing Ryan Moore the whole time. I was like, really? You're going to get the horse beat? I can't believe that. And then the horse still comes up and wins. And again, I want to stress something. Cone Lima is really good. Like, you shouldn't be able to beat that horse with a bad trip, and she did. So I'm excited to see her run here.
I don't want to say easily, but it was very measured. You know what I mean? Like, it was like once she finally got room to run, you're like, she's going to win. I mean, it was just that kind of performance. I mean, Mean Mary is dangerous. How strongly do you feel, but right before we go to the next race, how strongly do you feel? Do you feel strong enough to single her against Mean Mary? This sequence looks to be a little chalky. So how I probably will end up kind of playing it is going short in races. Like if this was surrounded by 2 or 3 races that could give us a price, you might try to go a little deeper. But I think you got to go a little shorter and kind of play like Vicky did at Del Mar, where she played a $3 pick 4. I kind of think you could do that here. And if you're going to do it, I'm going to single in that situation and single up Santa Barbara. And I will go too deep in the Mr. D because I think Armory just provides enough value there. And if you can get domestic spending beat, that's going to provide a big time, jump up on your ticket. So yeah, I would think about singling Santa Barbara in the spot. Yeah, I like singling her here. I like obviously playing those 2 in the Mr. D, and of course I like a 10-1 in the race prior. So there's your price. You play a few others there, and let's get to the next race, which is race 8. And this one might provide a price as well. Bruce D Stakes Grade 1. We're $300K for 3-year-olds going 1 mile on the turf. Field of 9 lined up for this one. And no offense to Jack Sisterson, but anytime his horse, he's got a 2-1 favorite, Tango. To me, I'm looking to say, okay, how can I get this horse beat? Is that what you thought? Or is Tango your pick?
I hate this race because I landed on Tango, and that's the one horse I didn't want to land on. But I just had a hard time making a case for anybody here. This race is really bad. Like, this is not a good race at all, in my opinion. I don't know. I thought about the 1, try and turf for the first time, but I just couldn't get there. I'm going to go definitely deeper in this spot, but I did put Tango ×3 on top. Ugh.
I hate that. I hate that take. As soon as I saw this race and I texted you, I was like, this race is awful. This is a grade 1. And this, I can't just for my own well-being, I can't pick Sisterson at 2-1. I just can't. I get it.
I get it.
The ride of a lifetime was like, I'm with you. I was like, well, like, this is the classiest horse of the bunch, and the horse is trying turf for the first time. And by the way, it's a grade 1. That's how bad I feel like it is. I don't know if you can get. Yeah, I agree, Michael Myers. This isn't even a grade 3 field. Like, it's not. It's a shitty allowance race at Saratoga at best.
That's why I picked the horse. It's just like, these horses suck.
Yeah. Listen, speaking of Saratoga, I went with number 6, Point Me By at a 3-1. Eddie Keneally, Luis Saez, or guy that we just talked about a few times. This horse wins on debut at Churchill Downs, goes to Saratoga, doesn't run awful, does improve, runs a big allowance race, finishes 4th, but ran well. Obviously is getting better, even though the horse didn't win. Now you get this. It's like a jump, but you got to be careful. Just like Michael said, it's like, because you first say, well, gosh, you're going maiden, losing allowance. Now you're in grade 1, but this isn't a grade 1. It is, but it isn't. So it's like, it's not that big of a jump. Horse ran well. is going to be coming late. Listen, Luis Saez gives the horse enough boost in my opinion, to get the job done. So on number 6, Point Me By. But man, this race sucks.
Did you ever think, before we move on, because this is crazy, did you ever think in a grade 1 race, and not a 2-year-old race, a 3-year-old or up race, you would be picking a horse that broke at the maiden at 5.5 furlongs at Churchill Downs, and then finished 4th in an allowance, and now you're picking them to win a grade 1? And
never.
Not only that, the horse is 3-1 and will definitely be 3-1 or less.
If the horse is 20-1, it's like, hey, let's think this horse is going to shoot up. Luis Saez, that's one thing. But but it's one of those cases, and you tell me, it's one of those that you look at the race and you want to say, okay, it's like an all. But then you look at it, it's like we talk about this sometimes on Blinkers Off. It's like the 2-1s, the 6-1s, the 5-1s. Like, if they're bad, the 20-1s are fucking awful. Like, so it's like, it's hard to even get even in the stratosphere of the 3-horse, say, Mr. Universe. It's like you kind of play the 6-1s, the 2-1s, you just move on because it's really a shitty race.
Yeah, it's like, let me see, Michael, where was that? I think Ravelli wins. Ravelli has the 8 and the 9. I mean, they're horrible. The 8, I'll probably have the 8 on a ticket for sure, but I didn't think that horse looked that good. It's bad. Did win a stakes race, at the Canterbury, so there's that. But I don't know.
There's nothing that comes, no matter what. Even if I'm dead right and the 6 wins, I'm going to be like, great. Can I forget this race ever happened, please? So
yeah, I just wouldn't let anybody beat you here. I would try to get as many as you could, because I do think you got those studs kind of around this race.
Well, that's the thing too. You got to be careful, because if you say in my case, I like Spritz in the 7 and the 6, you get that home, you get Santa Barbara home, you have coverage, so to speak, in the next race with Domestic Spending and Armory. So it's like, I just need to get through this lake, survive this lake. This is your survival lake. So you want to go as deep as you can. I think this is the race you want to go deep in as much as you possibly can afford, because it's a god awful race. I'm on number 6, Point Me By. You went with number 2, Tango Tango Tango.
Here's a good question, and I don't know the answer to it. I assume it's no. Has Jared Loveberry ever won a grade 1 race? I don't know.
I'm gonna say no, but
my guess is no. I could have snuck one in there somewhere. Here's how many of these jockeys have.
Yeah, no shit. Luis Saez has. That's why I picked him.
James Graham, Declan Cannon, Sophie Doyle, of course, Julian has. Severino, of course, Luis, Uska, Loveberry, Bear. Maybe only 1 or 2 have. 2 have. Wow. Has he ever won a graded race?
All right. 3, 2, 1. And finally, let's go back to the spa on Saturday, race 9, Saratoga Special Stakes. It's grade 2 or 200K for 2-year-olds, going 6.5 furlongs. Field of 12, a big field of 12 here lines up. This is always one of the great racing that happens at Saratoga every summer, because you got these 2-year-olds and who they are. And of course, we saw great 2-year-old last weekend with Steve Asmussen. He's got another one here. Of course, the clip he used was his Stellar Tap was the name, and was a horse that got him through to breakthrough win for his record amount of wins in the in history of being a trainer. And now he's got one in here. Good Night, the 2 horse at 5-1. Of course, a gun runner. Colt 2-1 on Dr. Jeff, the 8 horse for Rudy Rodriguez, Joel Rosario to ride. Stolen Base for Maker, Jose Ortiz 8-1, 6-1 on Double Thunder for Todd Pletcher. Wesley Ward's got. I mean, you've got all the trainers you need in here. You've got all the sires you need in here. You've got a lot of potential. So where did you end up?
I'll be honest. I have absolutely no clue who's going to win this race. It's just, you just honestly take the 12 numbers, put them in a hat, draw one out, go with that. If you're going to bet a win, it's just crazy. I hate. Well, I shouldn't say hate's a strong word, I guess, but Dr. Jeff at 2-1. No, thank you. Good Night at 5-1. No, thank you. I don't think that maiden race he won at Churchill Downs came back to be all that strong.
And the horse he beat last time out got pounded in that main special weight Brigadier General and was awful.
Yep.
At Saratoga
absolutely terrible as a favorite, by the way.
Yep.
I went with the 5 Midnight Worker on top. I was between the 2 Pletchers, the 5 and the 7. I do like Double Thunder as well. Midnight Worker won over the track last time out. Luis Saez obviously not here. He rode him last time. He's obviously at Arlington, as we just talked about. But he gets a good replacement in Irad. And I think Irad jumping aboard kind of says, okay, hey, this horse, they think it's got some talent. Wheeling right back in 21 days. I think the horse can be forwardly placed, but doesn't have to have the lead. I'm going Midnight Worker. I like Double Thunder. I like Nakatomi a little bit. I thought about him. But in the end, I went with Pletcher and Irad with Midnight Worker.
Yeah, that's a horse that I've heard a lot about that I think is going to run well. I ended up going with the horse just to his outside, number 6, Stolen Base. Listen, Mike Maker is killing it right now. It's 17. I think he's like, well, how many wins he has right now? 17, 18 wins at Saratoga. He's a leading trainer right now. He's just killing it. Jose Ortiz jumps aboard here, which is like you said, if Irad's on Midnight Worker, Jose jumping on here is a pretty good sign. And by the way, they hit it 32% when they team up. Not too shabby. Listen, this horse debuted one of main special weight, restricted main special weight for horses that I believe it was they were purchased for $45,000 or less on that debut, but ran a 71 buyer, chased down a horse that was experienced, at least so to speak, had ran races prior to his first time starter, and really did well. A horse sired by Bodemeister, obviously a very speedy horse, and kind of set off the pace and pounced and just the horse just strided out really well. So obviously Maker, Jose Ortiz, I feel like you're going to get the best out of him here. 8-1 too. So you and I are taking prices here, which makes sense. I'm on number 6, Stolen Base.
I literally don't have a clue.
But listen, these races are awesome because I got, what did I get on Stellar Tap? Like 5 or 6-1.
That was like 6-1, yeah.
And it's like, and for nothing. I mean, you got the connections. You just don't, the reason you got it because you don't know what they are.
Yep.
And so you got to take advantage of that. And you might be, Stellar Tap could have ran awful. You don't know. But you got to take, I think in these kind of races, especially when you got a vulnerable favorites even, I think it makes sense.
You just take a guess. You take an angle that you like. And yeah, like I said, I don't like Dr. Jeff at 2-1. And I think Asmussen's horse isn't terrible, but isn't great either. And yeah, there's a lot of opportunity.
Yep. All right. 3, 2, 1. So time we have checked out racingdudes.com for our free picks and our premium selections on our products page with the Get Racing Dudes Premium button on the menu at racingdudes.com to learn more. And again, go check out the sports page, RD Sports. Just click on other sports on the main menu at racingdudes.com and you get access to all the sports coverage we have, including picks and previews that will be coming soon once the NFL and college football seasons get rolling. Racingdudes.com is your destination site for all free horse racing and sports picks. For all major horse racing tracks and major sports. We're on Twitter at racing_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, website, racingdudes.com. I don't know who asked it earlier. I apologize. I can't even find it now. But we are going to the Travers. So we'll be at the Travers here in a couple weeks. We just left Saratoga, and we'll be back for the Travers. Believe it or not, the Whitney was our first. It was our biggest race at Saratoga. We usually, when we were at Saratoga, we've been a ton of times, but we're usually there for like Jim Dandy or something minor, so to speak. The Whitney was the biggest race. Obviously, the Travers is going to be our biggest day ever at Saratoga. We cannot wait. Hopefully, we have a place to stay. Do we have a place to stay? What's the update? Do we have a place to stay?
And it's in town. We're good. We're good to go.
Where is it? Because you haven't told me, which means it's probably not solid.
No. It's good. It's okay. Last time we stayed at the Hilton. But do you remember when we drove into town, just a tiny bit, like before downtown, the Hilton Garden Inn? That's where we got this time. So,
yeah.
And it looked to be a much nicer than the one we stayed in last time. So I'm excited. I think this could be good.
How'd you pull that off?
Well, here's what's funny. I was getting ready to do the Rocket Hour Tuesday, and Ricky was like, "Have you got a hotel yet?" I'm like, "No, I'll go check." And that one was available. It has not been available for like 3 weeks, but it was on. And I actually delayed the start of the Rocket Hour like 5 minutes so I could get the booking done. I was so excited. Honestly, for Saratoga standards, really wasn't that expensive either. So I'm super pumped.
Well, if it wasn't expensive and you got it, it means someone probably was killed in it or something. So that should be
something had to have happened, right?
I mean, but hey, I've stayed the Vela Rose in Hot Springs, so anything is better than that. So I can survive. Unfortunately, I guess the only question I would have is Ricky coming with us again.
Unfortunately, yeah, he will be there. So yeah,
well, he's not staying at another room or something?
No.
Oh, there's the negative. So
there's the catch. I heard Ricky was coming. They said, "Oh, okay, here we'll give you a little discount."
Oh, okay, all right. Well, that's great. Go check out the match.
Very stressed individual.
That's putting it lightly. Yes, I think I think I decided what we need to do for this trip. Now that I know for sure that he's going to be there, is we need to just go ahead and plan out like Thursday night, here's where we're eating. Friday night, we've got reservations. This is where we're eating. Saturday night is what we're doing. And if you don't like it, go fucking do something else. Like, I mean, that's the plan. That's where we're going. Because I think that might even ease his mind.
I think that's good. I'll start booking reservations for dinner now. That way, that stress is taken away from him. I like that.
Wait, Steve, is this a real thing? Did the Vela Rose seriously make the top 10 for the worst hotels in America? Because if it did, that's unbelievable. Because I legit stayed there maybe a year or two before it closed. So I mean, I was there I was there peak worst. I stayed there when Zenyatta came to town for the Apple Blossom, her last Apple Blossom. So in Hot Springs.
If you read the book The Vapors, and The Vapors is about old hot springs, the Vela Rose was built as kind of the hotel for the Vapors, which was like the high-end, high-class, people, a casino in Hot Springs. So it's definitely fallen.
Yeah, so that's really, Steve says yes. Wow. Well, honestly, it when I walked in, it reminded me of The Shining a little bit. Like that, it literally did. Like that, the same kind of atmosphere. Obviously, like it was nice at one point, but you also felt like you might die. I mean, I slept on top of the sheets. I mean, I didn't even get under the covers. I was literally like, we're going here. I'm here for Zenyatta, and that's it. It had to be. There's like it's very. It's like one of those places you walk in, and you're just like, I guarantee you this is haunted. There's no doubt in my mind this place is haunted. I didn't know whether to be fearful of the ghost or actually getting raped and murdered, but it was dicey to say the least. But
both equally scary.
Or both. Maybe it's a ghost who does it. I don't know. Condemned but scary. The damn thing is still standing. I mean, that's amazing, Steve. But yeah, it's I guess the point is you could definitely tell at one point it was that kind of place. Like you can tell, but it literally was not updated since the day it opened, and that's what happened. So yeah, I can say I survived the Vela Rose. All right. Go check out the Magic Mike show. They did the late pick 4 at Saratoga on Saturday. So go check that out if you want more analysis of the Saratoga special. And of course, the 4-Star-Dave. All right. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Hall. Oh, by the way, before we mention what a shirt you have on. I mean, my goodness. The pink Sting shirt. You talked about this, I think, last week, and I'm glad to see that you have it.
Yeah, this is the early 90s, late 1980s Sting shirt. This is like one of the original shirts that he sold right when he first got started. I was pumped to get it. Some guy was selling them on Twitter, and I said, hell, I'm gonna get that. So yeah, snagged it up. He sold out in like an hour too. So I mean, you gotta understand this was like for a kid like me, I probably had this shirt in a size, youth medium. So to see it back was very excited. Yeah. I was pumped.
I wish you would have had like when you got on air today, you had like the dyed, the bleached blonde hair. That would have been amazing. Like if you would have had that, I would have died. Oh my.
Here you go. This is for all the young people. This is what Sting used to look like right there. That's what he's referring to. So yeah,
he's even got the pink face paint on, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, that if here the pink colors, the pink and black, that used to be what he did. Yeah. So yeah, he was awesome. Yeah, he's not so much. He's 62 now, so he is going to wrestle in a match Wednesday, I think. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, yeah. Steve says, I hope he paid you to wear that shirt. So,
you either get it or you don't when it goes to wrestling, and if you don't, I get it. I understand, but that's is what it is. I've always liked it, and that's as my dad has Papa Dude, as you all know him now, has always said, I have one flaw, and that's that I watch that bullshit. So.
Oh, you know what? I like your dad even more. All right. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Alterman. Good luck this weekend.